I believe, if I'm not being too chauvinistic, I believe it's safe to say that Black Americans have made the greatest gains over some of the highest hurdles in the shortest period of time than any other racial group in the history of mankind. Now you say, well, what's the evidence for that? Well, if you added up the earnings of Black people each year and just thought of Black people as a nation, and you looked at the GNP of Black people, it would turn out that we would be the 13th or 14th richest nation on the face of the earth, coming in just behind Switzerland or Canada. Black Americans are some of the world's most famous personalities. Black Americans are some of the world's richest people. It was a Black American, Colin Powell, who was the commander of the world's mightiest military. Now, in 1865, neither a slave nor a slave owner would have believed these kind of gains would be possible in just over 100 years, if ever. Now, that speaks very well of the intestinal fortitude of the people, but just as important, it speaks very well of a nation in which these gains are possible. That is, those gains would not have been possible anywhere else on the face of the earth except the United States of America. Now there are problems that remain. That is, some of these gains have been elusive for a significant portion of the Black community, but it has nothing to do with racial discrimination. That is, one devastating thing that's happening in Black communities is the high illegitimacy rate. Now, but however, that has nothing to do with racial discrimination. That is, matter of fact, illegitimacy rate among Black teenagers in 1918 was less than that among white teenagers in 1918. In fact, there's another big problem, the breakdown of the Black family. And probably breakdown is not the proper word. It means, I should say, not forming in the first place. And this is entirely unprecedented. That is, only 40% of Black kids live in two-parent families. Now, back in 1925 in Harlem, 85% of Black kids lived in two-parent families. In 1870 and 1880 in cities like Cleveland, Detroit, and Philadelphia, you found numbers like 70 to 85% of Black kids living in two-parent families. Now, how do you explain that? Can you say that there was not as much racial discrimination in the United States in the late 1800s or the early 1900s? No, that doesn't cut water. The discrimination just plain cannot explain. It cannot explain the high crime rates, which are devastating to the Black community. And Black people huddled in their homes at night, living under conditions, many times under conditions in poor neighborhoods that the average American wouldn't believe or tolerate. I mean, for example, in Washington, D.C., mothers serving their children their meals on the floor so as to avoid stray bullets, or fearing to come to the window because of stray bullets, worrying about whether their kids are going to get home alive when they went to school. And it's not the Klan riding into the neighborhood causing this kind of mayhem. You cannot attribute it to discrimination.